Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com. Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com.
Hello there. Hello. Welcome to the show. It's the 24th of January. Oops. And I think Susan might be on the line. Suze?
Yeah,
Hi.
I am.
Hello. Hi.
Hello.
Hi. So, haven't talked to you since...
Since we both went down in flames?
Yeah. So,
yeah, well...
Did you and Mom watch that inauguration?
I watched part of it. I mean, I'm part of both, but didn't stay in there to watch the whole thing, no. I mean, it was clear what was happening.
What did you mean by part of both?
Are we talking about the Packer game and the Steeler game?
No! Jesus!
Inauguration? You're talking about the inauguration?
I don't give a shit about football. God! We got bigger fish to fry.
Oh, okay. We're on the inauguration.
Yeah. So, are you two out there in La La Land? Are you paying attention?
Well, we are paying attention. And I actually hopped in my car and went grocery shopping during the big moments, so I wouldn't watch.
Uh-huh.
But it was you couldn't. It was on the radio too, so you couldn't help but listen. And I was so angry. Within 30 seconds, I couldn't stand it.
So did you? Okay, the next big question is: did you see Kellyanne Conway's coat?
Coat? Yes.
What in the name of God was that?
That was a red, white, and blue coat.
It was the
military buttons
with her silly little red. I have never seen anything more absurd looking.
And the hat and gloves didn't match. They were maroon, and the coat
It
was
was. It's like she's such a she is a vulgarian, and that was a just wondrous outfit. Wondrous outfit. Have you also heard that she punched some guy out at the ball on Saturday?
What do you mean she punched some guy out?
I mean, she punched some guy out. There are a number of witnesses.
For what?
Okay, I'll share this with you.
I mean, because there's a lot of lines that come up. Did he grab her?
No. Apparently, believe it or not, it was bizarre in that she apparently was breaking up a fight. Here's what it says. There was a guy from Fox Business who first posted something about it because he saw it. And here's what he posted. Inside the ball, we see a fight between two guys in tuxes, and then suddenly out of nowhere comes Trump advisor Kellyanne Conway, who began throwing some mean punches at one of the guys. The whole thing lasted a few minutes. No one was hurt except maybe the dude she smacked. And then he said later, I'm not exaggerating this account in any way. I guess now I know why Trump hired her. Then other people acknowledged that they had seen it too, and that she punched one of these guys in the face with closed fists at least 3 times.
Boy, and I bet she was wearing rings, too.
Jesus! That was at the Liberty Ball on Friday night.
And one wonders what these two guys were fighting about in the first place.
Right. Well, what were they fighting about, and why would she intervene like that? Un-effing believable. So just wanted to keep everybody up to speed. We gotta keep our eyes on these guys.
Yeah, we got new sheriff in town. The thing that I have been most fascinated with is Melania's facial expression.
Yeah, I'd like to talk about that too.
I'm just trying to figure out if she's really that miserable, or if Botox and plastic surgery have frozen her face into one of the nastiest looking resting bitch faces I've ever.
No, I think the most almost poignant, almost made me feel sorry for her, is when she and Trump arrive at the White House. Before
and he leaves her in the dust.
And he, gets out of the car, totally leaves her. She's standing there, not knowing where to go with his present in her hands. And later, he just keeps walking. He just walks away from her. And then there's this thing where the Obamas are on both sides of her with their arms sort of around her, giving her some love, when her husband is like, listen, this has to be maybe one of the ugliest marriages on earth. I'm starting to feel like every time we see her, it's like looking at a hostage video.
Well, yeah.
The thing where she smiles at him and then he turns and her face just drops.
Falls again.
That is, I mean, you can't. There's no explanation for that kind of thing except I hate your effing guts. Gee whiz. I wonder if she'll ever, she's got Barron on her, so she's got to be careful. I think she despises him.
Well, I hope that's a sort of healthier emotion than the ones that I'm afraid of. I mean, who knows what she's feeling, but it ain't happiness.
No. That's one unhappy human being.
At any point, from her expression at the balls, everything. It was.
Can you imagine? Oh my God. Again, with these guys, you don't even know where to begin.
Well, how about that? Donald Trump is sitting in congressional meetings sitting in meetings with members of Congress and saying that the only reason he lost the popular vote because there were 3 million illegal votes.
3 to 5 million. He keeps up in it. 3 to 5 million illegals voted. Yeah, he repeated that in this, what was supposed to be a get to know you with the Congress. And we are in, we're in some other universe here. It's unbelievable. He cannot, you see, no matter what's going on, it all comes back to he's got to be the biggest, the best. He's got to. He can't internalize, he can't take in any other information. He has to keep returning to it. And he has to, I mean, my God, that the craziness of the news conference on Saturday with his Sean Spicer going out there and actually, lying through his teeth. And then yesterday when he comes back and supposedly walks it back, he didn't particularly walk it back. He still said, this is yesterday, I think sometimes we can disagree with the facts. So he's still saying, I'll have my facts, you have yours. And I wish you would stop demoralizing Donald.
Poor little Donnie.
Oh, my God. Did Barack Obama's press secretary ever jump all over media for making him feel bad?
And refuse to answer questions at your first press conference? Jump out of the room?
Unbelievable.
This will be interesting because the press has finally figured out that it's supposed to be doing its job.
Sorta, kinda. I totally worry about them little by little sliding into some comfort zone where they're not even the fact that they were so quick to praise Spicer yesterday for actually taking questions and responding to them without screaming and bolting. And they were acting like he'd done something amazing. I mean, you just can't keep lowering the bar and then praising them when they manage to clear something that's all of 1 inch off the ground. Oh. So apparently he's going to okay the Dakota pipeline today.
Of course he is.
Yeah. He also is going to sign on Comey for his FBI
That's a surprise.
head. Did you see the video of him summoning Comey across the room? And it was some event where I don't know, he like motions to Comey, who has to cross the room in front of all these other people sort of standing in a circle. And Trump, as he comes toward Trump sort of holds out his hands to him and then almost hugs him. And then there's this sort of, it is the creepiest thing. This is a guy whose agency is right now investigating Trump's national security advisor and 3 other people that were on his staff.
No, and weren't there calls from Congress about an investigation of the agency and his handling of the email thing?
Well,
after he wrote that letter at the
what difference does any of it make? You've got a totally corrupted administration here. Day one. And the impotence of the Democrats and the aiding and abetting by the Republicans, we're in some serious trouble here, I think. I really do. Mike writes, watching Kellyanne Conway and Spicer the other day reminded me of Baghdad Bob. Remember him?
Yes, I do.
Remember Baghdad Bob? This is when Saddam Hussein is still in power, and we're at war, and Baghdad Bob was the press secretary for Saddam Hussein. And he'd be standing, saying, well, here's what Mike says. Don't you remember? He would be saying, the war is going great, we're winning, the Iraqis are winning, Saddam Hussein is winning, and in the background there were like American tanks rolling by. Baghdad Bob, who, we laughed about and had so much fun with, because it was like he was saying, who are you going to believe, me or your lying eyes? But you see, this is, Sean Spicer is now in the same position of serving an autocrat, a thin-skinned autocrat who forces him to go out and say things that people know are simply untrue. Unbelievable. Also, have you heard of House Bill 193? That's been introduced. It would immediately pull the United States out of the United Nations.
Oh, right. I have heard of it. I didn't know its number.
Yeah. Good God. Barbara says that she feels kind of sorry for Melania too, and she said somebody imagined that box that she gave to Michelle,
that the note saying "Save me."
Yeah, take me with you. It had a note. Take me with you. I didn't vote for him either. Barron's a monster. Help.
I have to say, though, I do feel, I take this step with Barrett. He's a 10-year-old kid.
Yeah, oh no, he's not fair game. He's beautiful, isn't he? Isn't he
He
beautiful?
is quite beautiful.
I hope he's okay. I don't know how he can
be.
be.
A 10-year-old boy,
Yeah, back off. Exactly. Yeah. Everybody's saying on the spectrum. Nobody knows, so everybody's back off the kid. Okay? I agree with you totally.
That's a pile of bullshit. We see him, during daylight hours, and he responds like a normal.
Yeah, he looked perfectly fine at the inauguration and the parade.
Right.
I mean, if there's somebody in need of mental care in that family, we know who it is.
Right.
Jesus. So, I went to the march on Saturday here in downtown Pittsburgh. It was huge, as the marches were all over the country.
It was huge?
It was huge. And someone just sent me pictures that they took of us at the march. It was a wonderful pick-me-up for anybody who needed it, and God knows there's a lot of people who need it. So I was very happy to be able to do that. Catherine writes, I've heard that Trump's approval rating is now in the 20s. God, is that true? And I hope that's true and that it goes to 0. Well, it ain't. There's no way. I feel increasingly that I'm watching a macabre soap opera, which would be amazing were it not for the effect on the future of the entire world. I keep waking up in the morning and checking things out and finding that the world so far seems to still be here. But I have no doubt that if the Orange Nightmare stays in office for any length of time, the world will be on perhaps an irreversible plunge downward, mainly climate change, but not ruling out thermonuclear war. Yeah, well, all that, yeah, he brings us right to the precipice. So, I don't know. So, Susan, are you awake?
I am awake. I'm standing in my kitchen.
Okay.
I am looking at the mountains, which are, speaking of climate change, covered in more snow than I have seen.
Well, yeah, but because California's just been inundated.
And I've never seen so much rain in Palm Springs.
Right. I mean, you guys are... Well, the good news is, I guess, it's finally...
Wonderful.
The drought there is under control, which is good. That's good.
It's gone in all but like 2% of the state. So, and that's before the snow actually melts.
So that's the good news. You know, you got to find your good news someplace. I assure you, you just gotta.
And the Obamas moved in down the street.
From where you are?
Yeah, they're in Rancho Mirage with us.
With you.
And I would like to say we share a handyman.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You mean the guy who's messing around in here?
The guy that's coming to mess around in the place.
He said he messed around in Obama's place?
He was apologizing for being so hard to schedule, but that they have this emergency job working on the Obama's house that they're moving into.
So they actually bought a place there?
They bought a place in the same development that Ford had a place in, which I think is because it's already very secure.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's a minimum of additional problem for the existing neighbors.
Right. They're used to having ex-presidents.
It's the way they live, right.
Uh-huh. Well, I mean, there was always the Whatchamahookie estate, the Annenberg estate that all those presidents came to. That's also there.
Well, and that's where he used to stay, but he can't. But it's a conference center now, and he can't just stay there.
Yeah.
But he can golf there. This is all the things that I found out sitting here in Palm Springs.
So Jack writes, when I saw Trump signing the executive orders in the Oval Office, seeing Bannon in the background made me feel sick. Made me feel dirty. Bannon is simply terrifying. And did you see who he's brought into the White House? This 25-year-old woman, I'm blanking on her name, who was considered one of Breitbart's most outrageously provocative so-called journalists. And he's brought her into the White House. This does not bode well.
He really must think this is a game.
Well,
I mean, I don't understand. He really must think it's a game.
No, I think he's a megalomaniac, and I think he thinks, and I think he might be right, that he, being the brilliant guy he is in a position to totally upend the world order. That is what he's trying to do. Repositioning the United States, pulling the United States out of, the way it's always presented itself to the world. He's clearly a Putin lover and admirer. Even pulling out of, the trade agreements opens the door to China to become... They're going to create a whole bunch of vacuums where China and Russia are going to move in. Before they're done, I mean, they will have put us cheek to jowl with the Russians. They're a frightening bunch. I mean, he wrote the speech, and the speech was as darkly a sort of fascistic, nationalistic speech one can imagine, and that it was done for a presidential inaugural in the United States is just unthinkable. But it is, and this is what we got now. Uneffin' believable. Yeah, so, okay, news out today. New York Times just, puts out this. This is the headline, and this is the kind of headline we are going to see over and over. Trump plans to keep James Comey as director of the FBI. The agency is investigating Trump's associates. I mean...
right.
Yeah? Extraordinary. And I'm looking for some of the I keep talking about my Russian doctor who says these guys are just like commies. It's just unbelievable. But you're hearing more and more people who lived in communist countries saying the same thing. Martina Navratilova tweeted today, the propaganda coming out of Trump, Spicer, Conway is textbook communist BS that we got growing up. The similarity is quite chilling. People who lived in countries with autocratic and or commie dictatorships know. They've seen this all before. It's not like Bannon's such a genius. He's doing something that's been done over and over and over again.
Just using the playbook. Here we go, both clearing our throats.
Okay. We're going to try to take this call. Okay. Hello?
Hello.
Hi.
I just have to say two things that have been making me crazy. Number one, every time I hear Trump say about making America great and buying goods here in the United States, as he doesn't do what he says, he made his money on his clothing made in Mexico, China, and Vietnam or somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
He was, I've seen that several times during the election as a commercial with interview with David Letterman. And the other thing, that just makes me nuts. And the other thing is, I think of Tevye in Fiddler on the Roof as he's cleaning out his home and leaving the village of Anatevka. Maybe we'll just have to wait somewhere else for our Savior, paraphrasing that. And I just think that, that just keeps going over and over in my mind because it's really a frightening situation.
Well, I completely understand. I'm in the same place you are. The Russian doctor actually said to me, he said, so, I don't know, Canada? And I'm thinking, he was sort of smiling, and I'm looking at a guy who already upended his entire life.
And I'm getting out of here, right.
And now is, he's done it and can conceivably imagine doing it again. So...
Well, I thank you I'm so grateful that I found you on the radio. I listened to you for years as I was a nurse out in the field driving all over the place. And I, too, would love for you to be on the air longer if that's something that would be of interest to you, because you really taught me a lot, and I really appreciate that.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
Well, you have a good day.
You too. You too.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah.
Bye. Oh, my. Yeah. So there was this picture of Trump signing yet another one of his orders, and there were about 8 men standing around him, and they're all looking...
You know which one that was.
That was keeping family planning information away from women all over the world.
Well, it was withholding federal funds from any international not-for-profit that
does women's health care.
That does women's abortion.
Just even councils that does fucking contraception. It's like any... Do you know how many...
I think it effectively gets rid of all of that because of the abortion thing.
Well, as the it's sort of like going after Planned Parenthood.
That's exactly.
Why do you think abortions are down? Because Planned Parenthood makes sure women get contraception. So, okay, we're against abortion. We'll close Planned Parenthood down. And wow, watch. 1 million more unintended pregnancies. Dear God, women will die. Do you know how many people a study says will die if they just pull Obamacare? What did it say? 48,000 people a year are going to die?
Yeah, well, they won't be able to afford their treatment. They're ill now, and that's the thing. How can what if the pre-existing condition thing? What if they just go back to letting insurance?
They will.
In the meantime,
I want to tell you they will.
That means that all the people that stepped forward, because now there was no such thing as a pre-existing condition, can't get insurance.
Right.
They've outed themselves, much in the same way as this immigration thing.
Right.
With
DACA, they outed themselves.
Insurances. They
right.
outed themselves and their parents.
Right.
And now they might pay the price. Although I am hopeful, although I am usually wrong on these issues of law, but it seems to me that if when acting in legal reliance on U.S. law, you give that government information that's it's hard to believe, and you rely on their assurance that they aren't going to punish you for it. It's hard to believe that a court would allow them to punish you for it, but what do I know?
This just in. The Senate committee has approved Ben Carson to head the housing department. All these people are going to get through. All of them are going to get through. John McCain is now saying that China will become economically dominant because of what Bannon and Trump are doing. Oh, dear. We are so fucked. And the president will address a joint session of Congress late next month.
Oh, I can't wait for that one.
I don't know that I can bear it.
I honestly can't listen to him.
It's pretty hard.
Yeah.
I mean, I found that I didn't watch the inauguration, but I read the speech, and that was, believe me, that was chilling enough. That was cool. Hey, yeah, in regard to this abortion thing, health experts say the policy has the opposite effect of what the anti-abortion crowd wants. It increases abortion rates by forcing health clinics to close or to restrict contraceptives supplies because of lack of funding, and heightens the risk of illegal and unsafe abortions. This they know because every time Republicans get in, they do this. And every time Democrats get in, we undo it. And so this is just a dance we play on women's bodies and lives.
And it's very convenient because as long as you have alternate facts, you can pretend like that's
right.
True.
You know, you just said that, and I was reminded of some chilling thing that someone in the Bush administration said and was reported in a New York Times story. And it was, we create our own reality. I'm trying to remember who said it. But they were serious. They were serious. And they were nothing compared to these guys. Nothing. But I guess they softened us up a little bit so that we're not as astonished at what we're seeing. Oh, dear God. Okay, so you want to do the Academy Award nominations?
Well, didn't La La Land just get them all?
I hate that movie.
I know you do.
You haven't seen it yet.
No.
Well, you got to go see it before the Oscars.
All right.
You have to. I mean, my God.
We'll try and fit it into our busy schedule.
Oh, for God's sakes, you two.
We came first. We came in first at the duplicate bridge game.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, Meryl Streep got her 20th nomination. Probably, Best Actress for Florence Foster Jenkins.
Right.
I don't know. So, Best Picture, I've seen everyone but two. The nominees are Arrival, Fences, Hacksaw Ridge, that's Mel Gibson's, Hell or High Water, Hidden Figures, La La Land, Lion, Manchester by the Sea, and Moonlight. Well, why even bother having the fucking awards? Just give everything to this god-awful musical, okay, La La Land. Just give it to them. This is one of those musicals that, I'm serious, this is one of these things that in a year or two people will say, how the hell did that ever win?
Well, maybe it's a real sparse year, which I think it is.
Well, yeah, I've seen, I don't know. I think Fences is worthy.
Fences is worthy.
And I think Moonlight is worthy. Hello?
Hi, I'm new.
Yeah?
And I got a question. I mean, the emails that I send before the podcast, does she get those or do it? Because I actually sent one earlier.
What'd you send?
You're talking to Lynn.
The pictures from the march.
Mary.
Yeah.
I got it.
This is you.
Thank you, dear. Yeah.
Hey, baby.
How are you?
You know what? I'm an ancient follower of yours. And at the march, I'm like, no, I got to find her. And I'm wading through the web. What is this called? A podcast?
Yep, that's what it's called.
And but in the meantime, the emails that I send you, is it okay to send them a little early, or
You send them whenever you damn well please.
get them?
And I got them, and I was intending to respond to you and thank you for the pictures, because it reminds me of a wonderful, wonderful experience that we shared.
Exhilarating. And you know what, Lynn? I am so sorry because I walked away. I wanted to introduce you to my friends and take you in.
What? Listen.
I'm like, no. Wait, I regretted that.
No, but I left because I needed to the reporter in me took over. So I was like, I walked the whole length of the march. I bumped into so many people. I got so many hugs. It was so gratifying.
You are our leader, and you are a warrior, babe. You're a warrior, and like I said, I was born a warrior myself, and it takes courage, and it's exhausting.
Yeah, well, we're just beginning, so.
And you know what? The thing that kills me is because I pulled out of everything. I don't even watch TV. I was going to sit this election out, and I saw what's her name, Rachel Maddow on CNN.
Yeah, MSNBC.
And I said, wait a minute, that's a Lynn Cullen wannabe.
Oh God! Well, I think you got that inside out.
You're more beautiful than her. And I'm thinking,
well,
wow.
Okay.
If I hadn't dealt you the assholes that were so threatened by you.
Yeah.
You know, but I got to say, she referred to this whole thing as the Gong Show.
Ain't that the
truth?
truth?
I thought it was so funny because humor is going to be our pacifier. Yeah,
well, humor, if we lose our sense of humor, which I think I have a few times. Me
too, honey. But hey.
But you're right. We have to be able to. We got to keep ourselves together, because I think the job we have to do is nothing less than saving the United States of America.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
I did my time. I held public office. I did it all. I did it. But here we are.
Yeah, back. The job's never done. Mm-hmm. You were back in the street, and God bless you. And I'm glad we connected.
Hey,
thank
baby,
you.
And Melania is a Stepford wife. It's so funny. Remember the Stepford wife?
Yeah, sure. No, I think she's being held hostage, actually.
Yeah, we think she's.
And the other thing is that this is a cleansing time.
Okay.
I think this is a cleansing time. It's a finite. We only got 4 years to get through this. It's going to be a cleansing opportunity. And frankly, all the haters are forcing me to focus on love. Personally, now I'm going to start pulling some love out here.
I love you. Thank you.
I love you. Thank you, Lynn.
All righty. Bye. Bye.
Okay, so if it's a cleansing time, does that mean we can't drink?
Oh, no, I don't think she meant that.
Oh, good.
I mean, my sense of her is that, no, she did not mean that.
Oh, I hope not.
Oh, geez. So the one thing that I'm completely confused about, really, about the Oscars, is that extraordinary documentary I saw is not
even mentioned.
No. It was extraordinary. The Eagle Huntress. I mean, when I saw it, I thought, that's it. That's the documentary winner. Wasn't even nominated.
Well, they didn't see it. That's
what
happened.
And let me tell you, the only reason La La Land is getting all this shit is because it's about Hollywood. It's just masturbation.
Yes, aren't we wonderful?
Oh, yeah, no, exactly. And when you see the movie, you'll see that that's why. Aren't we wonderful? Exactly. Oh, wow. Milton, you're always right up on there. Is that who said it? He found this in the New York Times from October of 2004. We're an empire now, and when we act, we create our own reality. That's Karl Rove said it. We have a call.
Yeah.
Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Hello?
What is your opinion on concentration camps?
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good. Look, there you have it, folks. That's the swamp.
Mm-hmm.
That's the swamp.
Somebody said...
And that, by the way, is a threat. I think you ought to report it.
You can't imagine what I'm getting here, Susan. You can't imagine.
That might be the worst, though.
You think that one's the worst? You know, somebody was saying that when they were in D.C. for the march on Saturday, they were near the Holocaust Museum, and some guys walked by and screamed, 6 million Jews! Yeah!
Yeah. Permission granted. All of the, ugh.
Oh, this is great. Emboldened by Trump, Israel has approved 2,500 new settlements being built on the West Bank. Oh, the damage. Oh, the damage. Oh, the human life. God help us. Okay, so let's get uplifted by the obit of the day. Charlie Litke. He was a priest. He was. And then he found the celibacy thing a little much. But he was a priest when he volunteered to go into Vietnam as a chaplain. He is one of only 5 military chaplains to receive the Medal of Honor. He received it on because of actions on December 6th, 1967. He repeatedly neglected his own shrapnel wounds and without a weapon, helmet, or flak jacket, exposed himself to mortars, landmines, and machine guns to rescue 23 wounded colleagues. He evacuated the injured soldiers and administered last rites to the dying. He later took the medal in 1986 and stuck it in an envelope addressed to President Reagan and left it at the Vietnam Memorial in Washington. He served 2 terms in federal prison for anti-war activities. He didn't want the medal. So, there you have it. He left the priesthood in 1975. As far as there is known, he's the only recipient of the Medal of Honor to ever hand it back. And he not only handed it back, he renounced the lifetime tax-free pension that came with it. So... I'm sorry about that.
There's nothing I can do to make it stop.
I'm sorry about that. I just don't want to take it.
Yeah, no.
We are attempting to get a new phone system. We thought it would be in place today. Hi, Ernie. But
Sorry, he can't believe I haven't taken him for a you-know-what yet.
yeah, well...
Can't silence it without hanging up on Susan.
But it turned out to be extraordinarily complicated, which makes me crazy because I think you could just go over to Radio Shack if there still is one.
And plug it in, right.
Yeah, just get a fucking old-fashioned fucking phone. with more than one line. Sorry. Because, Suze, these trolls have targeted the show.
Oh, I see.
So that is not... As a matter of fact, the two women who got through today were the first legitimate callers we've had for a week.
You're kidding.
No. And it was great to hear them. I'm so glad they got through, but these sons of bitches are really trying to do a job. I wanted to point out a beautiful piece written by my good friend Jean Marie Laskus. It was in the New York Times Sunday magazine called The Mail Room. And, oh, God. It's about how the Obama White House handled the letters that people wrote to the president. And it is amazing. You have heard that Obama insisted that he be given every night, along with the briefing papers he would deal with at night, 10 letters, 10 representative letters that had come in that day. And, thousands come in. So there is a huge bunch of interns, young people, whose job is to read 300 letters a day and then to categorize them to da-da-da-da, and this whole system that eventually gets it down to 10. And in the article, you see some of these letters. Some of the letters are so searing that you can't imagine how you could even function after seeing them. And yet the president insisted on seeing them. They didn't have to be complimentary. They just had to somehow be representative. Can you imagine Donald Trump reading letters from people?
No, because he doesn't want to hear what they have to say.
And he also doesn't want to work.
No.
He doesn't want to do the work. And Gene talked to Obama about it. And he said it's one of the things that he thinks kept him grounded and kept him from sort of, let me see if I can find his. Oh, and she says this. This is funny. And it sounds like her. She's so, that's why she's a great writer. She's so observant. She says this: I don't know why I was surprised by how slowly the president talked. He seems so pensive on television, but one-on-one, he is even more pensive, pulling out each word only after having examined it, like an old man putting together a jigsaw puzzle of some swirly seascape when there is blue, but then there's blue, and then there's blue and blue. I maybe, he said, didn't understand when I first started this practice of 10 letters how meaningful it would end up being to me. I was trying to figure out how do I in some way duplicate this experience that I had during the campaign, and I think this was the idea that struck me as realistic. 10 a day. I figured I could do it. Susan?
Yes.
What was that?
Me zipping up the zipper of my flute.
It sounded like a fart.
No, it was the zipper of.
And now he's crying. So are you going out?
I'm trying to wait for about 12 minutes.
Rob is saying, try to catch the Jim Jarmusch movie, Patterson. Yeah, I've read about it. I do want to do it. Playing at the waterfront. Nobody gets shot, nobody gets hurt, but poetry. Just poetry. It's about a bus driver who writes poetry. And it's starring Adam Driver. It's gotten rave reviews. But that's the kind of movie nobody sees. Lynn, I wish you could upload those photos from the march. I would love to see them. That is, if the lady who sent them doesn't mind. She was a great caller, and she's right about love.
Well, you probably can figure out somehow to get them on a Facebook page.
Well, I'm sure Celine can figure this out.
Yeah.
Celine's on it. Celine was at the Washington March, and she's supposed to...
My daughter-in-law and my son and my grandson marched
in Chicago. Well, that was huge. That's amazing. I mean, and we all had this extraordinary experience, no matter where we were. Chuck says, I'm searching for a movie over the holidays to watch with my wife and daughter. We selected Florence Foster Jenkins, and halfway through the movie, the daughter went to bed. I stuck it out to the end, but this movie is terribly difficult to wade through. It left me wondering why they made the movie at all. It's a weak story with far too much bad singing. Plus, Donald Trump thinks Streep is a lousy actor. Well, I saw it. I didn't think it was that bad.
I saw it. I saw it for a movie to watch at home.
Fine.
It was fine. I mean, honestly, I sort of against my will because I've never been a fan. I watched the latest Woody Allen, the Cafe Society, which was, I mean, it wasn't terrible. It was.
Ugh. I so despise him. I can't watch anything.
I do too.
I just can't.
Did. I didn't like him before he married his.
No, I know. I didn't either. I didn't like him because of the way he always treated Jewish women. All the women in all his imaginings as this nerdy Jew was always to have a big leggy blonde, right? And the way he presented Jewish women was so stereotypically misogynistic and anti-Semitic that I just can't stand him.
Well, that's how I felt about him too. I would go, what's so funny about this guy? He's an obnoxious little. He's why it's hard to date Jewish men.
Wait, what? What? What the fuck did you just say?
I said he's why it's hard to date Jewish men. He's the stereotypical little nerdy Jewish man.
But that doesn't make it hard to date Jewish men.
No, it didn't. Growing up in Green Bay where there weren't any is what made it hard to date Jewish men.
Oh, God, you guys are telling me things I don't even want to know. Stop. So.
What, everybody's emailing you even worse Trump?
Yeah. I mean, and did you hear this? And did you hear that? And he's thising and thating. And the guy from the Laffer Curve is back, licking his chops. I mean, the cockroaches are coming out of the woodwork. It's every horror known. Oh, fuck. So, I don't know, Suze. I got nothing.
Well, I don't. Well, you got plenty. It's just.
I got plenty of nothing, and nothing's plenty for me. You know that song?
Yes, that's from the famous
Porgy and Bess.
And Bess. Yes, thank you.
Got no. There's some great music in there.
There is some great music in there.
Oh, Methuselah lived 900 years. Methuselah lived 900 years. But who calls that living when no gal'll give in to no man who's 900 years?
Pretty good.
Really?
You pulled that lyric out.
It's such a funny lyric.
I know, but doesn't mean that it would have stuck in my brain.
Who calls that living when no gal will give in to no man who's 900 years?
Uh-oh, she's singing, folks.
Yeah, that's trouble. That is. Okay. You cannot look. You cannot look. I mean, I get little things on my phone. Bang, Trump's just done another. Bang, Trump's just. Oh, God. And this whole.
Yeah, and Israel just approved 25.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. He's emboldened the worst of the worst. We are about to reap the whirlwind. Did you notice there was no poetry at his inauguration? And that's a first in a long, long time. And then you know what I was thinking? There was no poetry because the obvious poem, and I now am going to read the poem that should have been at his inauguration. Or I'm not. You all know what it is, right? Do we all know? The Second Coming. The Second Coming. By... Damn it! What happened to it? I can't lose that. I can't. Okay, I'll find another copy. Really? The center cannot hold. The best lack all conviction, while the worst are filled with passionate intensity. And what rough beast, its hour come round at last, slouches toward Bethlehem to be born. Yep, that's the one. And it would have fit perfectly, wouldn't it? In his dark.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it would just be perfect. So.
No poetry for Trump.
No poetry. Well, again, I just want to say we are F-U-C-K fucked. And there's no two ways around it. I'm just truly sorry. Jim in Toronto says Arthur Laffer, famous for the Laffer curve, which Reagan's budget chief predicted deficits as far as the eye can see. Interviewed on Bloomberg yesterday, licking his chops as he describes lower corporate tax cuts generating more revenue again. Well, yeah. So people need to, somebody said, if every woman and person who was at those marches called their Congress people, then we start getting something done.
Actually, I saw something that even made more sense, in that all of your Congress people hold town hall meetings. They are in residence to hear from constituents who rarely bother to show up. The far more effective thing to do is to show up.
How do you even know when they're having them? I mean,
you call the congressional office and you ask, or you look on their website and get the schedule. It's available. It's public info, and or just call the local congressional office and ask when the next time the congressperson is going to be there, and then show up. Because they don't, it's interns that get those emails and those letters. They do not, they're compiled, they're tabulated. That's about it. But if you want, and this is from a former congressman that said this, if you want to make an effect, that's what you do. You show up. You let them see them, because now it starts clinking his votes. And if you're willing to show up, then it looks like you're willing to vote. And if you're unhappy, they'll take note.
Uh-huh. But see, I don't understand. So if you're represented by a Democrat, which I am, but he has absolutely no power in the Republican-controlled House, what the hell is he? I mean...
Show up at somebody else's office.
Yeah, so we got to show up at Keith Rothfuss's.
Yeah, just let them know that we'll be in your district and we'll be organizing votes against you.
Yeah. There you go. Just go next door. You don't have to go far.
Next door. Work in a place where your voice is heard. I mean, that's how I'm in Illinois. And before that, I was in St. Louis, which was the sea of blue and the red, and effectively, McCaskill is was my senator there, so totally unrepresentative of what the state's doing.
Yeah. Well. All right, Suze.
All right, I'm going to go walk.
I know. Put Ernie out of his misery. Bye.
Sitting with his legs crossed.
I know. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. And, guys, we'll try to get this fucking phone thing. At least we'll give them this. They're trying. Okay. These are different times we're in. And, we shall not be moved. See ya.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper, Steel City Media, and its advertisers.